Hey, welcome back, everybody. John here at Havoc Maker Studio. It is a wonderful Wednesday evening. I might lose power. I guess you probably won't know this because it's a pre recorded video, but it is a dark and stormy night here in Texas. We're at evening time, not nighttime, and we're getting our very much needed rain. My lawn is actually not going to be looking so dead probably tomorrow because of our 90 days of 100 some odd degrees of heat and everything. At any rate, you're not here for that. So earlier today, we did a video talking about some great news coming out of Privateer Press, one of the companies that I'm very hard on alongside Games Workshop for their business practices, a very small percentage of the player base and whatnot. But today, was not intending, and we're not going to cover Arnim Zola, the new Captain America, or Baron Strucker. Because we've already covered those at the conclusion of the mini extravaganza. And you guys can easily go to the Atomic Mass Games page, which I'll have linked down for the Atomic Transmissions for all this content down below. So you can go take a look at the character cards if you haven't already taken a look. Arnim Zola dropped a few days ago. Looks really good. Like I said, we've already covered it. I love the new Captain America. He is a beat stick, and of course, we've got a wonderful Baron Strucker. Well, wonderful in the sense that he's a pretty cool character on a tabletop, not in his ideology, even though he's a fictional character. Not very cool. But we're not going to cover those. What we are going to cover, and this will be a relatively short video, is the reveal today of the tactic cards that's going to be coming with Arnim Zola and Baron Strucker. So sometime this month, actually, I believe, is it this weekend? No. This weekend is the Winter Guard. Next month, September, will be the dropping of Arnim Zola, Baron Strucker, the original Human Torch, and Captain America, or Steve Rogers Captain America, and Nick Fury Sr. and Howling Commandos, as long as everything goes along with the schedule. We never know. Something could get mixed up and we get pushed back again. Regardless, we know that they should be dropping sometime in September. And hopefully this weekend, the Winter Guard will drop. They are very disappointing for me. I've covered that before, but I'm probably going to pick up at least Red Guardian and Urza Major, mainly just for Urza Major because I like his bear. All right, enough of that. Let's talk about the Team Tactic cards. So this box set's coming out. The Arnim Zola and the Baron Strucker is going to have just 2 Team Tactic cards. We've seen that a brief spat of releases where there's just 2 Team Tactic cards, where we've had 3. We've had one instance of, I think, 5 and then 10. I think there was 10, and then Nick Fury Jr. and the Shield agents. So we never know what's really going on. But these 2 cards are pretty amazing, I would say, and very unique as compared to a lot of the other cards we've seen. One of them is almost reminiscent of what we see alongside some of the organized play kits, or what they call game night kits. The one that really kind of springs to my mind was the Separation Anxiety, where basically it's a 4-player game. Everybody's fighting each other. They're getting symbiotes attached to them and whatnot. And the symbiotes, when they get attached to you, they give you some special abilities until other stuff happens, etc., etc. So one of the cards gives me that vibe to it, and I don't think it's going to be a staple of future cards. I do think it will be popping up with, I would say, every few releases, at least once a year, we might see something similar, because it can add new life to the game, and really there's a lot of characters out there that are able to do or provide this Team Tactic card, this ability to other characters in the comics. So I know I'm being very vague. Let's get into it. So first up, we're going to take a look at the High Council. A really cool card. I think it's going to be very difficult to pull off. because you're going to have very strict requirements to pull this off. And if you have all the conditions met for this, then something really cool is going to happen. And we'll talk more at the end of it. So the High Council, it's a Hydra card. It is an active card, so you got to use it during your activation. If all the following conditions are met simultaneously, an allied Hydra character may play this card. So here are the requirements. Johann Schmidt, that's the new version of the Red Skull that's going to be coming out probably October. He cannot be dazed and has to have 6 or more power, right? Then Arnim Zola is contesting the secure objective token. That's the second condition. The third condition is Wolfgang von Strucker. That's Baron Strucker. That's the new one that's coming out. He is not dazed and has to be within 2 or more enemy characters with the poison special condition. So let me go back. Let's take a look at Baron Strucker. Baron Strucker does have the ability to inflict poison on other people, especially with his Death Spore virus ability. Now, you can add other characters on that might be able to inflict poison. Omega Red could be a viable individual, maybe, but we'll get into that in a moment. The last character, the last condition that has to be met simultaneously is Helmut Zemo, or Baron Zemo, that comes in the original set, has dazed or KO'd an enemy character this round. So you have to meet all those 4 conditions. If that happens, this is the cool part, you can place an unused character of threat value 4 or less from your roster within range 2 of this character. It is now part of your squad. So those uninitiated or just fresh to the game, you have your 10-man roster, right? Or your 10-character roster, from which you pull your crisis squad to play the game. So whenever you choose your crisis missions and you get the threat value, let's say it's a 17 threat value, from that roster of 10 characters, you make a threat value 17 crisis squad. So the remainder of those characters, let's just say those last 5 characters, let's say you manage to squeeze in 5 characters into your squad. Those 5 characters get pushed off to the side. They have nothing to do with the game unless you pop off the High Council. If you manage to activate the High Council, you can look at the rest of your roster that's not a part of the game, find yourself a threat 4 or less character, and bring them into the game. Now, you should have about 5 characters, because Arnim Zola, Strucker, Baron Strucker, and Baron Zemo, I believe they're all threat 3, so that's only a threat 9. My guess is, unless I've missed it somewhere, Johann Schmidt, the new Red Skull, is probably going to be a 4 or a 5. So that will put this at about a 13 or a 14, I think a max of a threat 14. And the average gameplay is is threat 17. So you have enough to squeeze in a threat value 3 character into this squad. So you can have a 5-person squad. If I think the next average value or the next highest played was a 19, I think 19. That sounds about right. That means you can get yourself up to another 5 threat value character, which that might, all that taken into account, you might, depending on how much Johann Schmidt costs, with this 4 people, you might be able to wiggle in, say, what I was talking about earlier, putting in Omega Red for that extra poison ability. And I think he might actually be a good fit for this. That aside, that's just something you can do. I think it's a pretty cool card. It's a high risk, high reward card, but if you pull it off, that's not too bad, guys. That, especially if you've already got 5 people, bringing in just one more character, even a threat value 2 character, really tips the balance into your into your hands or into your side, whatever the phrase is. That really puts a lot of pressure on your opponent. And getting 6 power, Schmidt would probably Johann Schmidt, the Red Skull, probably you would probably be able to pull this card off with all these conditions. My guess is around turn 3, maybe turn 2, depending on all of his abilities and such. But my guess would be probably turn 3. So that is kind of a critical stage because I've seen a lot of games ending really around turn 5. Very few games, high speed games, are on 4, but right there mid game on turn 3 to be able to pull out a 6th member for this roster, that really is going to tip the balance and is really going to give you an edge. I think that's a very cool card, but I think you need to be able to pilot, as I like to say. You got to be a good pilot for what you're playing. I don't see it being used all too often or effectively in the hands of amateur players, but people that know how to pilot their list, I think that they're going to be able to pull that off. And I think that would be an amazing moment. Maybe not all the time. My guess is maybe 1 out of 4 games, maybe 1 out of 5 games, you'll see this get pulled off, but really cool. Now, the ability I was talking about earlier that we might see later on is the scientific method. It's a Hydra ability. It's an active card, and it's essentially it is giving an ability to a character. Okay, which I think is really cool, and it very, like I said, very reminiscent of some of the game night kits where you can basically equip like symbiotes, like the separation anxiety game night kit, where you can give your characters an extra ability, and that's what this is going to do. There are other characters in the Marvel Universe that are capable of doing that. So I think we might see that at least, I would say, maybe once a year, maybe twice a year per, maybe one. I'm going to just go with once a year with all the sets that would come out in a year. We'll see how this plans out. Who knows? They might just put a big wave of characters out that are all about enhancing other characters, and we might just mind blown. But let's get into the card. So, scientific method. It's a Hydra card. It's an active card. It requires the use of Arnim Zola. He can spend 2 power to play this card. So you're going to choose another allied character that is a threat value 3 or less, which is pretty much everybody that's on that list of the High Council, by the way. And they have to be within range 3 of Arnim Zola. The chosen character suffers 2 damage, and for the rest of the game, the chosen character may use the ESP leakage attack and gains the unnatural mutation superpower. So automatically awesome because you're getting a big boost. Now the ESP leakage I think is a really cool ability. It's only range 2, so it's not super great range wise, but you do get 6 dice at the cost of 1 power. The best part about this is before you deal any damage, the target character suffers 1 point of damage, 1 wound for each critical failure in their defense roll. That is awesome. I mean, it's only like a 13% chance you're going to get that, but then you multiply that or alter that by or increase that percentage based on how many dice you're actually rolling. But still, that extra little ability that you are taking that damage before we figure out how much damage you might take after your defense roll. Awesome. That's really cool. Now, the other thing is that's the innate ability Unnatural Mutation. When an enemy character targets this character with an attack, this character adds 2 dice to its defense roll. This is innate, so you don't have to pay for it. Unless the attacking character pays 2 power. So the attacking player can waste 2 of their power, spend 2 of that power, which is wasteful, to deny this boosted character those defense dice. And some of these characters, like I think Baron Zemo, maybe Baron Structure, actually we can take a look at Baron Structure's defenses. They're pretty good, but I think be able to boost maybe Zemo. I think he's the weaker of all the Hydra members. next to Hydra Bob. I think Hydra Bob's really the weakest. Anyways, but be able to give them that 2 extra defense dice is pretty nice, and forcing your opponent to have to pay power to negate it. Either way, it's a win. So right now, these are really interesting cards. I think Scientific Method, if you're going to be running the Hydra, I think that's a no-brainer. I think you are going to take that almost every time. The High Council, I think that's going to be for more experienced players or people who just want to try it. I would really highly recommend you know how to play your Hydra unit, your Hydra squad, know all the ins and outs, and be very cognizant of everything that's going on in the battlefield. Even having a checklist, maybe even like printing off a checklist or getting a piece of paper and go and reminding yourself like, oh, Schmidt just made this condition, put a check mark there, and then Zola just made that condition, put a check mark there, so you remember that you've met these conditions, and always be looking at that little checklist. So when that does happen, you can pull off the High Council, because I can see this card being kind of overlooked, like, oh my god, I forgot I had the High Council, and round 4 I could have pulled this off, and I could have pulled in this character, and this would have given me such a great edge, and I forgot about it. I'm so stupid. I'm an idiot. You know how we are when we're gamers, especially when we forget to do stuff. So I'm going to highly recommend that you, especially if you are a Hydra fan and this is going to be your jam, I would even go as far as to make a little placard, not placard, but a little maybe something done in Excel or Google Docs or whatever, with a whole bunch of check marks and check boxes and everything like that. Laminate it, have a marker, a dry eraser or wet eraser marker, whichever, and have that with you when you deploy this, especially if you're going to be using the High Council, because I can very easily see people forgetting this. So that's my tip for playing this. I'm not going to be playing Hydra. I am not a fan of this bad guy group, but I can at least acknowledge that this is some awesome stuff that they just got, and we still haven't seen what Johann Schmidt, Red Skull, and the Hydra Goons are going to give us. So I think right now, with these cards, with Arnim Zola and Baron Strucker, it's time to go ahead and take a look at Baron Zemo, Sin, Madam Hydra, and what's his name? Punchy guy, Crossbones. And maybe, and I know Omega Red is nothing to do with Hydra, but for that poison thing, I for some reason, I really feel like he might be good for this squad. I might have to take a look. But I think it's time to go and pull those characters in, take a look at their cards, take a look at their, any of the type of team tactic cards that are really good for those characters, and start formulating a plan. Because once Johann Schmidt drops, I think it's going to be time to at least, I probably won't play them. Well, I might play them once or twice, maybe some proxy models, just so I know how they play so I can counter it. But for those of you that are excited about this, I would start gathering up all those character cards, all those team tactic cards, all the crisis cards, and start seeing what are the best combos as of right now. And then as we get the last drops for Hydra, that it won't be that hard for you to go, okay, now I can pull these out because these are better, shuffle these around, and bam, there we go. I think this is a good thing, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I'm excited about the potential of the future when we see cards like this. I was a little disappointed and a little worried with the Winter Guard, because it was just, I don't know, it's like stale crackers, or like the crackers from MREs, just really super dry and blah. But now Hydra, though, looks amazing. So it's almost like, hey, we have to do something kind of meh so that we can reveal something amazing. And they just did. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. We are in quarter 3. I have not decided what the quarter 3 giveaway is going to be. I have not heard back from the other winner for the Q2 giveaway, and the other winner that I did contact did not want either of the two boxes. So he's going to be getting a Hulkbuster. So I think it's fried toast, or I can't even think the name of the individual. Anyways, he's getting a Hulkbuster. So I do have those other characters that we might transfer over to the Q3 giveaway, or we might just give a random selection. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But how do you get to be into the contest? You need to be, or the giveaway, you need to be a subscriber, right? And you need to make sure I can see your name, so don't hide who you're subscribing to, because that blocks me from seeing you, and I can't include you in the giveaway if I can't find your name in the roster. So, something to think about. All right. You guys have yourself a wonderful day. We're going to have, or an evening, we're going to have some more news tomorrow and on Friday. And if you're down in Houston, I might be seeing you guys this weekend. Anyways, you guys have yourself a wonderful night, and I'll chat with you later. Peace. Peace.